Hello and welcome to the 12th prompt for Women's History Month. This prompt is a visual prompt, as you can see, and the prompt is write a story that takes place in the mountains. You can write it in any genre, but try to include this view, the one in the image. And I've titled this one A Princess, a Huntress, and a King. So let's get right into it. The princess was coming back from a hunting trip. Princess Tulipa Rosa Daffodilla of the Flora Kingdom loved hunting, not necessarily killing, but she enjoyed being out in the fresh air surrounded by fellow like-minded women. She also just as much enjoyed the trek home. Sprawling hills, a mountainous backdrop, trees painted with the finest of scarlet. What's not to love? Oh, yeah, the castle. It wasn't that Tulipa hated her home, it was more so she hated those living within it, especially her uncle the king. Tulipa's kingdom followed the rules of male primogeniture, meaning only cisgender men could inherit the throne. As her father the old king had died and she had no brothers, the throne passed to her brute of an uncle, a man she loathed. King Sunflower wasn't a bad king. Since he'd taken the throne, the kingdom had seen nothing but positive changes. It became far wealthier for a start, but he was a bad man. He treated Tulipa and the other women in court as nothing but glorified servants. Until he became king, women were respected members of the kingdom. They were hunters, doctors, advisors. Now they were forced into jobs of servitude. On the way home from one of her many secret hunts, Tulipa came up with a plan. She would head to the castle basement. In the basement of the castle there sat a cauldron, once owned by the castle's resident witch, a tradition that also ended once Sunflower had seen to it that all witches, regardless of gender, age, or species, were executed for high treason. Tulipa had been friends with the last castle witch. In fact, he had been her lover. Another reason to hate King Sunflower. They'd even planned to wed as soon as they both reached 21, only 2 years from now. There were no laws against who a princess could or couldn't marry. Why should there be? It's not like they'd ever see the crown. Tulipa stood by the cauldron. She knew the potion off by heart. Acornus, her lover, and herself had rehearsed it many times, ready for the event in which the king took things too far. Tulipa up until this point had put it off, but today marked the 2nd anniversary of her father's death, and to honour it, King Sunflower planned to release a plague upon any supporter of his that was still kicking about. Using the combined power of every witch he'd slain with his sword, imbued with the power to absorb the essence of magical beings. Tulipa made the potion and slurped up every drop the second it was done. She transformed into the image of an elderly man and made her way up to the throne room where her uncle enjoyed most of his time. "Impossible," Sunflower cried. "I made sure you had died." He covered his mouth, shocked by his loose tongue, giving away his crimes. The guards reached for their swords, as they watched on, itching for the chance to pull them out. "Your plot against my life failed, brother," Tulipa boomed, using the image of her deceased father. "I have been hiding for 2 years, waiting for my chance to return to my kingdom, and I come back to see you not only have committed one mass genocide, but you plan to enact another. It is you who is the treasonous vermin that plagues this kingdom. Guards!" The guards stormed towards Sunflower, seized him and dragged him away. Tulipa took his place on the throne. "I have managed to hold on for 2 long years, but I grow tired. The elements have made me sick, and I am not long for this world. Today I die, and my daughter is to be the next king of this land." After sneaking off to transform back into herself, Tulipa was crowned the first cis woman king of the Flora Kingdom that same afternoon.